At $1 million I have on the left-hand side, 1,750,000, 1.25 million, 1,325. Gone there, 1,385, congratulations.
It's a common story in Auckland. House prices just keep going up.
425 back against you.
It's been 18 months since the Housing Accord was announced and LVR restrictions were introduced in a bid to cool Auckland's hot housing market.
The Council and the Government have agreed that this accord needs to be reached. That will see a significant increase in the number of houses available on the market.
So how much of a difference has been made?
We're making good progress, not great or outstanding progress, but very good progress in terms of really lifting that supply.
The council's been speeding up consents and Mayor Len Brown says it's working, but not everyone agrees.
Things have actually got worse, absolutely. Even with the housing accord there, we haven't seen that many houses built yet. There have been a number of infrastructure challenges to that.
David Whitburn's a property investor and developer and former president of the Auckland Property Investors Association. He says it's a simple equation of supply and demand.
We have really strong demand right now. We've got a record migration year, and most of the immigrants that come into New Zealand settle in Auckland. We also have a lot of people coming from the regions into Auckland, so we've got really, really strong demand.
Auckland's housing plan in 2012 showed a shortfall of 20 to 30,000 homes, and despite the accord, that's getting worse. Last year alone, Auckland's population grew by 50,000, requiring around an extra 20,000 homes. Only 5,500 were built. If there was any doubt, a new report by the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment expects the shortfall to persist for at least another 5 years. Colleen Milne from the Real Estate Institute says the net migration boom is a huge factor in the housing market and it's reflecting in the prices.
Well, we've seen the median price rise from $563,000 to $675,000, so that's a 19% rise in the last 18 months in Auckland.
The Reserve Bank also introduced lending restrictions to slow the market, but that doesn't appear to be working either.
From what we see, the effects of the LVRs and that macro kind of policy is actually just affecting the regional sales.
Indeed, just this week, new data from the city's largest real estate agency, Barfoot & Thompson, revealed record prices for Auckland. The average price topping $750,000 for the first time. The goal set by the government and council was to stop just that. The Housing Accord was designed to increase supply and improve affordability by freeing up land and speeding up consenting processes. The aim is for 39,000 homes and sections to be consented by September next year. On that front, the council's already ahead of target, which sounds good, except it's still only 60% of the previous peak a decade ago. And the big question is, are these consents actually turning into affordable homes?
Hobsonville and some of those new developments, they have the smaller properties and apartments, and obviously a mixture going right through to the larger, but it's just not enough.
The new township development in West Auckland is often used as a poster child for what Auckland needs to be.
So this is one of the new compact homes at Hobsonville Point. Come on in. So here we have one bedroom, the bathroom, and then the kitchen living area. Now, this home was bought in October for $340,000. They're now going for $410,000, an increase of $70,000, 20% in just 6 months.
The problem is, demand is so high for the affordable homes that they're becoming almost unaffordable faster than they can build them. Figures released to the nation by the Real Estate Institute reveal that of the new build consents in Auckland last year, just 9% were for homes valued at under $500,000. Yes, that's 9% affordable homes, compared to 40% in Wellington and half in Christchurch. In fact, 56% of new consents for Auckland are for homes worth over $1 million. Auckland's fast becoming a $1 million city. So why aren't developers in Auckland building more affordable homes? At this special housing area east of the city centre, 30 homes are being built to be sold or leased to hapu of Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. Some will be in the affordable bracket, but Kate Healy says bringing them in on budget's been a real task.
I think it's difficult to build affordable houses, and housing costs a lot these days. There's no real incentive in the private sector to build and sell something for less than it costs you or less than you can otherwise sell it for into the market.
Are we building the right kind of home?
I don't know that we are building the right kind of home if every home is a 4-bedroom double garage house with a 500 or 600 square metre yard around it. You need some 1-bedroom homes, you need 2 bedrooms, you need 3 bedrooms, and in some instances you need a 6-bedroom house to house a family.
So how do we get that diversity of homes?
We need to have people realising that their first house doesn't need to be a $1 million plus house that has absolutely everything they need at 25. You know, your first home is a small home and you grow into it, and similarly as you age you grow out of that large family home. It needs to be led by not only the customer but also, I guess, developers who are thinking a little bit outside the square.
David Whitburn is one of those developers. He's built up a multi-million-dollar portfolio, but describes himself as a capitalist with a social conscience. These terraced houses in Avondale all sold for under $500,000, but he readily admits building homes at an affordable price in Auckland is tough.
Developers aren't building affordable housing because in many cases they want to take the path of least resistance. They don't want to have the delays and uncertainty and costs imposed if their developments are notified, and the not in my backyard types give them stick. There's a lot of risk that they won't get a resource consent then. Also, it's often more profitable to build a bigger 4 or 5 bedroom house than it is to build a 1, 2 or 3 bedroom unit or terraced house there. So it's simple market economics.
Two major cost drivers are land and construction. Land costs have risen 60% since 2013. Although more land's been opened up for development, the housing accords failed to free up enough to prevent a large increase in values. The accord also aimed to take action on the cost of building materials. Kate Healy wants the government to increase competition to bring down the prices.
Maybe the standards that are imposed through brands and whether or not there can be some alternative products that are authorised and allowed to be used. At the moment we are facing a situation where we have 1 or 2 primary suppliers of building materials and they're not cheap.
Council regulations and water care charges also add tens of thousands of dollars to each property, and Healy says it's restricting the number of affordable homes developers can build.
The developers that are delivering up affordable homes primarily are doing them by subsidising those costs of construction with larger houses next door that they are selling for premium prices. Certainly some of the examples at Hobsonville, the affordable homes are 48 metres squared studio apartments next door to 4 and 5 bedroom homes that are sort of balancing out that cost for developers.
The 84 special housing areas currently approved have the capacity for a little over 40,000 homes, but just 170 have been completed. It'll take more than a decade to build them all, and 90% of them won't be affordable. Dr. Sudhir Singh from the environment lobby group Generation Zero is concerned that they're building the wrong type of home in the wrong place.
We're really lacking housing choices in Auckland, and unfortunately we haven't seen that prioritised. So what Auckland's crying out for is more well-designed apartments close to public transport and close to jobs.
Are we building the right properties right now?
Unfortunately we're not. So over half of the SHAs are on the edge of town as urban sprawl, and it's just piling more people on our already jammed motorways, whereas what we need are more housing choices.
According to the most recent census, 3/4 of Auckland homes are separate houses. That compares to 60% in Sydney and just 6% in London. If we're to squeeze in a further 1 million Aucklanders over the next 30 years, we can't just keep spreading out. We need to build up as well.
Mayor Len Brown insists things are changing.
40% of the consents in the first quarter of this year are for apartments, and we're seeing that bill going on in Auckland and around our metro centres with some real pace. So look, I'm not as pessimistic as that. I'm optimistic for the fact that the Auckland construction industry is building to meet this demand.
He says it just takes time.
The pace is as quick as we can expect. considering that we're coming off a very low base. At the bottom of the GFC going into 2008, 9 and 10, we were looking at around 1,000 to 1,500 homes being built in Auckland a year. We're up to, sort of well over 5,000 now, coming off the back of the consents. And we've got a real bow wave of activity coming through above the new sections of consents being issued. So very, very pleased to see the progress thus far, but we know we need a lot more.
So halfway through the accord, a pretty clear picture's emerging. Too many people, too few houses, and too many million-dollar mansions.
1 million the opening bid, I'll take 25.
Which means the forecast for Auckland is rising house prices as far as the eye can see.